Ben Shephard, the ever-charming, ever-polite face of British morning television. For years, viewers have known him as the man who brings warmth and wit to their mornings on This Morning and Good Morning Britain. Always cheerful, always grounded, always the one to bring light into the nation's living rooms. But behind that familiar smile, those twinkling eyes, and that calm composure, few knew the storm that had quietly taken hold in Ben's personal life. Recently, photographs emerged that left fans stunned. Images showing Ben's wife, Annie Shephard, out to dinner with a man no one recognized. The setting was intimate, their laughter effortless, their smiles unguarded. Almost overnight, social media lit up with speculation. Who was he? What did this mean for Ben and Annie, one of television's most beloved and enduring couples? And perhaps most painfully of all, where did this leave Ben Shephard himself? Before the headlines and speculation, before the whispers of change, Ben and Annie had long been considered one of the few celebrity couples who had made it. Their story was not one of glamour or scandal, but of genuine partnership. They met long before Ben became a household name, when he was still hustling behind the cameras, not in front of them. Annie, a marketing executive, was the quiet force in his world, intelligent, private, steady. Together, they built a life rooted in balance and authenticity. Ben often spoke fondly of Annie in interviews, how she kept him grounded, how she was the calm in every storm. "She's my best friend," he once said in an ITV feature, "the person who tells me the truth, even when it's not what I want to hear." To the public, it seemed perfect. 2 sons, a beautiful home, a shared sense of humor, and that unspoken connection that only years of shared history can create. But even the strongest partnerships are not immune to life's slow drift. Friends close to the couple quietly noticed that something began to change after the pandemic years. Ben's schedule grew increasingly demanding. Between early morning wake-ups for Good Morning Britain, hosting Tipping Point, and new ITV projects, the hours were relentless. He'd leave before sunrise and return home long after dinner. Annie, meanwhile, had carved out a meaningful career of her own. But those same friends noticed her attending more events alone. Still, the couple remained fiercely private, never one to court attention or fuel gossip. To the outside world, nothing seemed amiss. But inside the Shephard household, cracks were beginning to show. Subtle at first, like quiet disagreements that lingered too long. Conversations that once flowed easily began to feel strained. Ben's friends describe him as a fixer, someone who always wants to keep everyone happy. But this time, he couldn't quite find the right words. He thought they'd figure it out, one friend confided. He truly believed it was just a rough catch. Then came that night. It was a cool autumn evening in London, when Annie was photographed dining with a man who, according to tabloids, appeared attentive and affectionate. The photos didn't show anything overt, just 2 people smiling under soft restaurant lights. But the context told a story that words never could. When the images surfaced online, they spread quickly, appearing on social media, gossip sites, and morning radio chatter. Ben reportedly saw the photos alone in his dressing room before a live broadcast. "He just froze," said a colleague from the This Morning production team. Then he quietly put his phone down, took a deep breath, and walked onto set like nothing had happened. That's Ben Shephard, the consummate professional. To the viewers at home, nothing seemed different. The smile, the charm, the easy laughter, all intact. But behind the scenes, producers noticed a quietness that hadn't been there before. One team member shared, "He didn't say a word about it. He just got on with it." But you could tell, he wasn't himself. Those close to Ben say his real breaking point came later. Not when the story broke, But when he realized that the woman who had stood beside him for over 2 decades might truly be moving on. According to one longtime friend, Ben was heartbroken, not angry, just broken. He kept asking where things went wrong, what he could have done differently. He reportedly took some time away from television commitments, retreating to their family home in Richmond. Neighbors described him seen going for long walks alone, headphones in, often stopping by the river, the same spot he used to visit with Annie on weekends. He looked lost, one resident said, like a man trying to make sense of something that doesn't make sense. Those who know Ben best say that he's been spending his time reflecting rather than reacting. He's poured his energy into journaling, long conversations with his sons, and reconnecting with friends he'd lost touch with during the whirlwind years of fame. He's trying to find his center again, a family friend explained. Ben's not the type to lash out or blame anyone. He's introspective. He wants to understand, to heal, to grow. Meanwhile, reports around Annie's situation remain mixed. Some insist that the man she was seen with is just a close friend, someone who's been offering her support through a difficult transition. Others believe it's something more. Annie has not spoken publicly about the matter, and those who know her well say that she wouldn't. Privacy has always been her compass. Still, those same friends acknowledge that she had been quietly struggling too, with feeling unseen, unheard, overshadowed by Ben's public life. She loves Ben, one confidant said, but love sometimes changes shape. Sometimes it becomes memory rather than partnership. The story of Ben and Annie Shephard is more than just another celebrity headline. It's a mirror of something deeply human, the quiet toll of life's pressures on even the most loving relationships. Ben has spent years mastering the art of balance, balancing fame with family, work with fatherhood, humor with humility. But balance is a fragile thing. In a 2022 interview, he once joked, "The secret to marriage is knowing when to talk and when to make tea instead." It was said with a smile, but perhaps beneath that humor was something real. The awareness that love requires attention, and attention is the one thing fame often steals. As the weeks passed, friends say Ben began to find small moments of peace. He's reportedly spending more time in nature, visiting the countryside with his sons, and reconnecting with friends he'd lost touch with during the whirlwind years of fame. He's trying to be present, one friend revealed. He wants to rebuild, not just move on. And while he's been spotted looking thinner, quieter, more introspective, those who have spoken to him describe a man rediscovering his strength in stillness. As for Annie, sources close to her insist that she has no intention of hurting Ben. "She's focusing on healing," said one of her colleagues. "She's not out for attention. She's just trying to find herself again." And those same friends say she remains deeply protective of their sons and of Ben's privacy, even in this difficult moment. Annie, after all, was never drawn to fame. Her life was about family, stability, and quiet moments that never made headlines. Perhaps this moment, as painful as it may be, is part of both their evolution. Two people learning how to live apart after a lifetime of being each other's constant. In recent weeks, fans have noticed subtle but hopeful signs. Ben has been smiling a little more on screen. He's shared small stories about his boys, about life lessons, about gratitude. In one recent This Morning segment, when asked about how he stays optimistic, Ben paused, then said quietly, "Life has a funny way of testing you, but it also has a way of reminding you what really matters." Viewers flooded social media with messages of support, calling him an inspiration, a reminder that even in heartbreak there is grace. Perhaps that's the real story here, not the dinner photos, not the speculation, but the humanity behind it all. Ben Shephard's quiet heartbreak has become something far greater than gossip. It's a reflection of how love, loss, and change touch everyone, even those who seem to have it all. As a longtime ITV producer put it, Ben has this rare gift. He makes people feel seen. And now, even in his silence, people see his vulnerability, and that's what makes him so loved. Whether or not Ben and Annie ever find their way back to each other remains unknown. But one thing is certain. There is deep respect between them, a shared history that time cannot erase. And perhaps in that respect, there's a kind of love that endures even after the romantic kind fades. So where does that leave Ben Shephard today? He stands at a crossroads, one that isn't defined by celebrity, ratings, or